The vast emptiness of space stretched out in all directions. Among the twinkling stars, a small alien outpost floated silently. Inside, 3 Zorgans sat watching big screens. These aliens looked like tall blue lizards with 4 eyes each. Zix, the youngest Zorgan, yawned. His job was boring. Nothing ever happened out here. He wished he was back home, playing spaceball with his friends. Suddenly, one of the screens started beeping. Zix jumped up, his 4 eyes wide open. "Hey, look at this," he shouted to his teammates. Zorg and Zap, the older Zorgans, rushed over. They had never heard the alarm before. "What is it?" asked Zorg, his voice shaking a little. Zix pointed at the screen. "Something big is coming. Really big." The 3 Zorgans watched as a bright light appeared on their screen. It grew bigger and brighter. Then, with a flash that made them cover their eyes, a hole opened up in space. "It's a wormhole," yelled Zap. "But that's impossible. Nobody has that tech." As they watched, ships began to pour out of the wormhole. Not just a few ships, not even 100. Thousands of ships, then tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands of ships came through. Zix's mouth fell open. "I've never seen so many ships in my life." The ships kept coming. They were all shapes and sizes. Some were as small as space cars. Others were as big as moons. They filled the screen, a massive fleet appearing out of nowhere. Zorg, the team leader, knew he had to report this. With shaking hands, he pressed the emergency button. This would alert every alien world in the galaxy. As the alarm sounded, Zap squinted at the screen. "Wait a minute," he said slowly. "Those ships, they look familiar." Zix and Zorg looked closer. Zap was right. There was something familiar about the design of the ships, but they were like nothing any of them had ever seen before. The ships were sleek, shiny, and clearly very advanced. Then it hit Zix. "They look like Earth ships," he gasped. The other 2 Zorgans stared at him. Earth. That was impossible. Earth had disappeared 500,000 years ago. The whole planet, along with all its people and ships, had vanished one day. Nobody knew what had happened to them. But as they looked at the ships, they knew Zix was right. These were Earth ships, but far more advanced than anything Earth had when it vanished. Just then, their communication screen lit up. Calls were coming in from all over the galaxy. Everyone had seen the alert. Everyone wanted to know what was happening. Zorg took a deep breath and answered the first call. On the screen appeared the face of the galactic president, a green blob with tentacles. "Report," the president demanded. "What's going on?" Zorg tried to keep his voice steady. "Mr. President, a wormhole has opened in Sector 7. A fleet has emerged. It's Earth, sir. Earth has returned." The president's eyes bulged. "Earth? Impossible. They've been gone for 500,000 years." "Yes, sir," said Zorg, "but it's them. Their ships are different, more advanced. But it's definitely Earth." The president was silent for a moment. Then he said, "This changes everything. All galactic leaders are to meet immediately. Keep watching that fleet." As the call ended, more started coming in. Alien leaders from all over the galaxy were calling. Some were scared. Some were excited. All were surprised. Meanwhile, the Earth fleet had finished coming through the wormhole. The hole in space closed behind them. Now millions of ships floated in front of the Zorgan outpost. Zix, Zorg, and Zap could only stare in wonder. After 500,000 years, Earth was back, and they were clearly no longer the simple planet they had once been. These ships showed power beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. As news spread, every alien world buzzed with activity. Scientists tried to figure out how Earth had done this. Military leaders worried about what it meant. Regular aliens everywhere talked about nothing else. Earth, the planet that had vanished without a trace, was back, and they had returned with the greatest fleet the galaxy had ever seen. On one of the Earth ships, a human captain looked out at the stars. To her, it felt like they had only been gone for a short time. She had no idea that 500,000 years had passed for the rest of the galaxy. She didn't know that their return was shaking the very foundations of galactic society. All she knew was that their mission had hit some problems, and they had to come back early. She was looking forward to seeing Earth again, to telling everyone about the amazing things they had seen. Little did she know, Earth wasn't where they had left it. The galaxy they had returned to was not the one they had left, and their return was about to change everything. As the Zorgans watched, the Earth fleet began to move, slowly at first, then picking up speed. They were heading deeper into the galaxy. Zix, Zorg, and Zap looked at each other. Their quiet, boring job had just become the most exciting position in the galaxy. They were the first to see Earth's return. Now they had front-row seats to whatever was going to happen next. The Earth fleet moved gracefully through space, their advanced ships gliding past stars and planets. Everywhere they went, aliens watched in awe and fear. The impossible had happened. Earth was back, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. The news of Earth's return spread faster than light across the galaxy. Alien leaders everywhere were in a panic. What should they do? How should they react? After much debate, they decided to send their best diplomats to meet the Earth fleet. They chose Ambassador Blorp, a wise old alien from the planet Gloop. Blorp looked like a giant purple jellyfish and was known for being calm in tough situations. Blorp's ship slowly approached the massive Earth fleet. His heart was beating fast, but he tried to look confident. This was the biggest moment in galactic history, and he was right in the middle of it. As Blorp's ship got closer, he saw just how advanced the Earth ships were. They shimmered with strange energy fields. Some seemed to fade in and out of sight. Others changed shape as he watched. Blorp gulped. Earth's technology was far beyond anything he had ever seen. Suddenly, a voice came through his ship's speakers. It was in perfect Gloopian, Blorp's native language. "Greetings, Ambassador," the voice said. "We are Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth ship Starlight. Welcome." Blorp was surprised. How did they know his language? How did they know he was an ambassador? He pushed these questions aside and focused on his mission. "Greetings, Captain Chen," Blorp replied. "On behalf of the Galactic Alliance, I welcome Earth's return. May I come aboard to talk?" "Of course," said Captain Chen. "We're opening our docking bay now." Blorp's ship was gently pulled into a massive docking bay on the Starlight. As he floated out of his ship, he saw humans for the first time. They looked just like the old pictures, but their clothes and tools were very different. Captain Chen stepped forward. She was a tall woman with short black hair and a friendly smile. "Welcome aboard, Ambassador Blorp," she said. "We have much to discuss." Blorp followed Captain Chen to a large meeting room. Other human leaders were there, all looking curious about their jellyfish-like visitor. "First," said Blorp, "let me say how happy we are to see Earth again. You've been gone for so long." The humans looked confused. "Long?" asked one man. "We've only been gone for 30 years. Blorp's tentacles wiggled in surprise. "I'm sorry, but that's not correct. Earth disappeared 500,000 years ago." The room went silent. The humans stared at Blorp, then at each other. Captain Chen's face went pale. "That's impossible," she whispered. "How can that be?" Blorp realized they truly didn't know. He explained gently. "Earth and its entire fleet vanished 500,000 years ago. One day you were there, the next you were gone. Nobody knew what happened to you." The humans looked shocked. Captain Chen sat down heavily in her chair. "But for us," she said, "it's only been 30 years since we left Earth." Blorp's scientific mind started working. "It must be time dilation," he said. "Your wormhole travel must have affected time differently for you." As the humans tried to process this news, Blorp had questions of his own. "Can you tell us where you've been? What happened to Earth?" Captain Chen nodded slowly, still looking dazed. We discovered how to make wormholes. Big ones, big enough to move planets. We decided to take all of Earth on a journey to explore other galaxies. Blorp's 4 eyes widened. Moving an entire planet, it seemed impossible. But then again, so did returning after 500,000 years. We visited amazing places, continued Chen. Saw things no one had ever seen before. But then we had some technical problems. We had to come back earlier than planned. Blorp absorbed this information. It was incredible, but it also raised new questions. If you moved the whole planet, he asked, where is Earth now? The humans looked at each other nervously. We're not sure, said one man. When we had problems, we had to send the planet back separately. We thought it would return to its original location. Blorp felt a chill. Earth was missing. This was not good news. Just then, alarms started blaring. Captain Chen jumped up and ran to a screen on the wall. Her face turned serious. We've got company, she said. A lot of company. Blorp floated to the screen. His tentacles curled in fear at what he saw. Thousands of ships were approaching. He recognized them, the Galactic Defense Fleet. Oh no, Blorp said. They must think you're invading. Captain Chen's eyes narrowed. We're not looking for a fight, she said firmly. We just want to go home. But home was missing. And now they were facing a potential battle. Blorp knew he had to act fast to prevent a disaster. Let me talk to them, he said quickly. I can explain the situation. As Blorp rushed to contact the Galactic Fleet, the humans prepared their defenses. They didn't want war, but they were ready if it came to that. In just a few hours, everything had changed. Earth had returned, but to a time not their own. Their home was missing. And now they faced a possible war with the very galaxy they had once been part of. Captain Chen looked out at the approaching fleet. She thought about her family back on Earth, wherever it was. She thought about the 500,000 years that had passed in what felt like a blink to her. And she wondered, what would happen next? As tension filled the air, both sides waited. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the whole galaxy, hung in the balance. The next few moments would decide if this would be a peaceful reunion or the start of a terrible war. And through it all, Ambassador Blorp worked frantically to keep the peace. He knew that the future of the galaxy depended on what happened here, now, in this moment of first contact and confusion. As the Galactic Defense Fleet and Earth's ships faced each other, everyone held their breath. Would there be war or peace? Ambassador Blorp was trying his best to explain things to both sides. While this was happening, Captain Sarah Chen decided it was time to share Earth's amazing story. She called a meeting with her top officers and Blorp. They gathered in a room with a big screen on the wall. It's time everyone knew the truth, Sarah said. She pressed a button, and the screen lit up with images of old Earth. The story began 500,000 years ago. Earth was a busy, crowded planet. People had explored every corner of their world. They had even started to explore nearby planets. But they wanted more. Our greatest scientists came up with an incredible idea, Sarah explained. They found a way to move our entire planet through space. Blorp's tentacles wriggled in amazement. Moving a whole planet seemed impossible. On the screen, they saw huge machines being built all around Earth. These machines could open a massive wormhole, a shortcut through space. We decided to take our whole planet on a journey, Sarah continued. We would explore faraway galaxies, then come back home. The screen showed the day of the big move. All of Earth's people were excited and a bit scared. The machines turned on. A giant hole opened in space, big enough for a planet to fit through. Then, slowly, Earth began to move. It entered the wormhole, taking all its people, animals, and plants with it. In the blink of an eye, Earth was gone from its solar system. We found ourselves in a new galaxy, Sarah said. Everything was different and amazing. The screen showed strange, colorful worlds. Weird alien plants and animals. beautiful stars, and nebulas no human had ever seen before. We visited many galaxies, Sarah explained. We learned so much. We saw things beyond our wildest dreams. As they traveled, Earth changed. They met friendly aliens and learned new technologies. They built their giant space fleet. They discovered secrets of the universe. But then something went wrong, Sarah said, her voice getting serious. The screen showed Earth scientists looking worried. Their machines were having problems. The wormhole technology wasn't working right. We had to make a hard choice, Sarah explained. We could keep exploring but risk getting stuck forever. Or we could try to go home early. They decided to go home. But there was a problem. The wormhole wasn't big enough for Earth and all its ships. We had to split up, Sarah said. Earth went through the wormhole first. Our fleet was supposed to follow right after. The screen showed Earth disappearing into a wormhole. Then it showed the fleet getting ready to follow. But something went wrong. The wormhole became unstable, Sarah said. We couldn't follow Earth right away. We had to wait and try to fix the problem. It took the fleet 30 years to fix the wormhole and follow Earth. But because of the strange way time works in wormholes, 500,000 years had passed for everyone else. And now we're back. Sarah finished. But we can't find Earth. We don't know where it is. Everyone in the room was quiet. It was a lot to take in. Blorp's mind was spinning with all this new information. Just then, an alarm went off. A young officer ran into the room. "Captain," he shouted, "we're picking up a signal. It's from Earth." Excitement filled the room. Sarah rushed to a control panel and pressed some buttons. A scratchy voice came through the speakers. "This is Earth calling any Earth ships. Can anyone hear us? We are lost and need help." Sarah's hands shook as she answered. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Fleet. We hear you, Earth. Where are you?" There was a pause. Then the voice came back. "We don't know. When we came out of the wormhole, nothing looked familiar. We're in a strange part of space." Sarah looked at her team. "We need to find them," she said. "But how?" One of the officers had an idea. "What if we use our advanced sensors? We could scan for Earth's unique energy signature." Sarah nodded. "Good idea. Let's do it." As the Earth fleet began its search, the Galactic Defense Fleet watched in confusion. Blorp explained the situation to them. At first, the alien leaders were angry. They thought Earth had been hiding all this time, getting stronger. But as they learned the truth, their anger turned to amazement. "We want to help," the alien leaders told Blorp. "Earth was part of our galactic community once. We want them to be again." So, the search for Earth became a giant team effort. Earth's advanced ships led the way, with the Galactic Fleet helping. They searched through vast areas of space, following the faint trail left by Earth's wormhole. Days passed, then weeks. Sarah was starting to lose hope. What if they never found Earth? But then, just when things seemed darkest, they got lucky. One of the search ships picked up a signal. "We found it," the excited crew reported. "We found Earth." Cheers erupted throughout the fleet. They had done it. Earth was found. As they approached the lost planet, Sarah felt a mix of emotions. Joy at finding their home. Worry about what changes 500,000 years might have brought. Excitement about reuniting Earth with its long-lost fleet. The first images of Earth appeared on their screens. It looked both familiar and strange. The continents were in different places. The cities looked incredibly advanced. "We're home," Sarah whispered. "After all this time, we're finally home." As Earth grew larger in their view screens, Sarah knew this was just the beginning. They had a lot to figure out. How would Earth fit into the modern galaxy? What would happen to all the new technology and knowledge they had gained? But for now, none of that mattered. Earth was found. The lost planet and its wayward fleet were together again. And the greatest adventure in galactic history was about to begin. As Earth and its fleet reunited, the galaxy watched in amazement. No one knew what would happen next. Earth was now the most advanced civilization anyone had ever seen. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of her ship, looking at Earth through the big screen. It was home, but it looked so different. The oceans were a deeper blue. The land had strange, shimmering cities that seemed to float. "It's beautiful," Sarah whispered. Blorp, the jellyfish-like alien ambassador, floated next to her. "What will you do now?" he asked. Sarah took a deep breath. "We need to talk to Earth's leaders," she said. "And then, we need to figure out our place in this new galaxy." As Sarah's ship approached Earth, a message came in. It was from the planet's surface. "Greetings, Earth Fleet," a voice said. "This is President Zara of the United Earth Government. Welcome home." Sarah smiled. At least some things hadn't changed. Earth still had a president. "Thank you, President Zara," Sarah replied. "We have a lot to talk about." Soon, Sarah and her top officers were heading down to Earth's surface in a small ship. As they flew through the atmosphere, they saw the changes up close. The cities were like nothing they had ever seen. Buildings reached up into the clouds. Flying cars zipped between them. In the countryside, they saw huge domes covering farms. Everything looked clean and bright. They landed in a big square in the middle of the largest city. A crowd of people had gathered to see them. Sarah was nervous as she stepped out of the ship. How much had Earth people changed in 500,000 years? But as soon as she saw the faces in the crowd, she relaxed. They looked just like the people she knew. They were smiling, cheering, waving flags. They were happy to see the fleet come home. President Zara stepped forward to greet them. She was a tall woman with dark skin and friendly eyes. "Captain Chen," she said, shaking Sarah's hand. "On behalf of Earth, welcome back." As they walked into a big, shiny building for talks, Sarah noticed something odd. Some of the people in the crowd didn't look quite human. They had different colored skin: blue, green, purple. Some had extra arms or eyes. President Zara," Sarah said quietly. "I couldn't help but notice. Some of the people looked different." Zara smiled. "Ah, yes," she said. "A lot has changed in 500,000 years. We've had visitors from other worlds. Some decided to stay. Earth is now home to beings from all over the galaxy." Sarah's eyes widened. This was a big change indeed. In a large meeting room, Sarah and her team sat down with Earth's leaders. It was time to share stories. Sarah told them about the fleet's adventures, the strange worlds they'd seen, the advanced technology they'd developed, the long journey home. Then it was Earth's turn. President Zora explained what had happened after they arrived through the wormhole. "We found ourselves in a part of space we didn't recognize," she said. "We tried to contact the fleet, but couldn't reach you. We thought we'd lost you forever. Over thousands of years, Earth had to adapt. They made contact with alien civilizations. Some were friendly, some weren't. Earth learned to defend itself. It also learned to make friends. We became a hub for galactic trade and diplomacy," Zora explained. "Beings from all over the universe come here to live, work, and learn." As the meeting went on, it became clear that Earth was now a major power in the galaxy. Its advanced technology, combined with its reputation as a fair and friendly world, made it very important. But there was a problem. The sudden return of the even more advanced Earth fleet was causing worry. "Some alien worlds are scared," Blorp said. He had been quiet until now. "They think you might try to take over the galaxy." Sarah was shocked. "But we don't want to take over anything," she said. "We just want to come home." President Zara nodded. "We know that," she said. "But others don't. We need to show them that Earth, both the planet and the fleet, comes in peace." They spent hours talking about how to do this. They came up with a plan. Earth would host a big galactic meeting. Leaders from all over would come. Earth would share some of its technology and knowledge. They would show everyone that they wanted to help, not rule. As the meeting ended, Sarah felt both excited and nervous. Earth had changed so much. The galaxy had changed. Everything was different, but it was still home. Over the next few weeks, ships started arriving from all over the galaxy. Some were huge and impressive. Others were small and strange-looking. All of them carried important alien leaders. The Earth fleet ships stayed in orbit, trying not to look threatening, but everyone could see how advanced they were. It made some of the aliens nervous. On the day of the big meeting, the Grand Hall in the Earth's capital was full. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and colors sat together. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange, Sarah could hardly believe they were real. President Zora stood up to speak. The room went quiet. "Friends, neighbors, fellow beings of the galaxy," she began. "We are here today to start a new chapter in galactic history." She talked about Earth's long journey, about how they wanted to share what they had learned, about their hopes for a peaceful future. As Sarah listened, she felt proud. Earth had come so far. It had seen so much. And now it had a chance to make the whole galaxy a better place. But not everyone was happy. As Zara finished her speech, a group of alien leaders stood up. They looked angry. "How do we know we can trust you?" One of them shouted. "You have power we can't even understand. How do we know you won't use it against us?" The room erupted in shouts and arguments. Sarah looked at Zora. The president's face was worried. This was the moment of truth. What Earth did next would decide the future of the entire galaxy. The Grand Hall was in chaos. Alien leaders were shouting at each other. Some were scared of Earth's power. Others wanted to be Earth's friends. It was a mess. President Zara tried to calm everyone down. "Please," she said, "let's talk about this peacefully." But the angry aliens wouldn't listen. One of them, a tall creature with spiky skin, pointed at Sarah. "Your fleet could destroy us all," he yelled. "Why should we trust you?" Sarah stood up. She knew she had to say something. But what? How could she prove Earth wasn't a threat? Suddenly, she had an idea. It was risky, but it might work. "Wait!" Sarah shouted. The room got quiet. All eyes turned to her. "You're right to be worried," Sarah said. "Our ships are powerful. Maybe too powerful. So here's what we'll do." She took a deep breath. "We'll share our technology with everyone." The room exploded with noise again. But this time, it was surprise, not anger. "Are you crazy?" Blorp the ambassador whispered. "You can't give away Earth's secrets." But Sarah stood firm. "We didn't come back to rule the galaxy," she said. "We came back to be part of it, to help make it better." She looked around the room. "If everyone has the same technology, no one needs to be afraid. We can all work together to explore the universe." The alien leaders started talking among themselves. Some looked excited. Others still seemed unsure. President Zora stood up next to Sarah. "Earth agrees," she said. "We will share our knowledge with all peaceful worlds." For a moment, the room was silent. Then, slowly, one alien stood up. It was the spiky one who had been angry before. "If you are willing to share," he said, "then perhaps we can trust you." One by one, other aliens stood up. They agreed to give peace a chance. But not everyone was happy. In a dark corner of the room, a group of shadowy figures watched. They didn't like the idea of everyone having advanced technology. They wanted to keep the power for themselves. As the meeting ended, most of the aliens left feeling hopeful. Plans were made for Earth to start sharing its tech. It would take time, but it was a start. Sarah felt relieved. They had avoided a war, but she knew the hard work was just beginning. Over the next few months, Earth was busier than ever. Scientists from all over the galaxy came to learn. Earth engineers traveled to other worlds to help build new technologies. Sarah's fleet was at the center of it all. Their ships were the most advanced, so everyone wanted to study them. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Some worlds didn't want to share their own secrets. Others tried to use the new tech to bully their neighbors. And then there were the shadow figures from the meeting. They started causing trouble. Ships went missing. Secret labs were attacked. Someone was trying to stop Earth's plan. One day, Sarah got an urgent message. A group of Earth scientists on a far-off planet were in danger. Their lab had been attacked. Without hesitating, Sarah took her fastest ship to help. When they arrived, they found the lab in ruins. The scientists were hiding in a safe room, scared but alive. As Sarah helped them to safety, she found something strange. In the wreckage of the lab was a piece of technology. It wasn't from Earth. It wasn't from any world she knew. What is this? She wondered. She took the device back to Earth for study. The best scientists looked at it. What they found was shocking. This technology, one scientist said, it's more advanced than ours. Way more advanced. Sarah couldn't believe it. But how? We thought we were the most advanced in the galaxy. The scientist shook his head. This isn't from our galaxy, he said. Whatever made this, it came from somewhere else. Somewhere far away. Suddenly, things started to make sense. The attacks, the missing ships, the strange accidents. Someone, or something, was trying to stop Earth from sharing its technology. But why? Sarah called an emergency meeting with President Zara and the top Earth leaders. She showed them the device. I think we have a big problem, Sarah said. There's something out there more powerful than us, and I don't think they're friendly. President Zara looked worried. What do we do? She asked. Sarah thought for a moment. We need help, she said. We need to tell the other worlds. All of them. If there's a threat to the galaxy, we have to face it together. It was a big risk. Some worlds might panic. Others might not believe them. But Sarah knew it was the right thing to do. The next day, Earth sent out a message to every world in the galaxy. They told them about the strange technology, about the attacks, about the possible threat. We don't know what we're facing, the message said, but we know we can't face it alone. We're calling a meeting of all worlds. Together, we can prepare. Together, we can be strong. As the message went out, Sarah looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was a mystery, a possible enemy. But also, maybe new friends, new adventures, a whole universe to explore. She thought about how far Earth had come. From a single planet, to a fleet exploring the universe, to a leader in the galaxy. Now they faced their biggest challenge yet. But Sarah wasn't afraid. She was excited. This was why they had left Earth all those years ago. To explore, to learn, to grow. Whatever was out there, whatever challenges they faced, Sarah knew one thing. Earth wasn't alone anymore. They had a whole galaxy of allies. As ships from hundreds of worlds started arriving for the big meeting, Sarah smiled. The adventure wasn't over. In fact, it was just beginning. The galaxy was changing. A new age was starting, and Earth was ready to lead the way into the unknown.